So coming on to impression compound. Impression compounds are thermoplastic materials which are softened to their working consistency by immersing in hot water or by warming over the flame. So they are rigid after setting and has poor elastic properties. So coming on to the composition, the composition includes rosin, copal resin, carnauba wax, stearic acid, talc and coloring agents. Now rosin is added in 30%, copal resin includes 30%, carnauba wax is added in 10% consistency, stearic acid 5%, talc is 25%, and coloring agents some vary in minute percent like 0 to 1%. Coming on to types, there are two types, low fusing and high fusing. Low fusing is called impression compound while high fusing is called a stray compound. Now they are available in various forms, sheets. The impression compound includes sheets, strips, and other varieties are also available. So coming on to sheets, they are used for recording impression of edentulous ridges. Now we'll be covering out manipulation in further slides. So basically manipulation, how it works is we soften the impression compound in a temperature of water bath, that is 55 to 60 degrees Celsius, for around 4 to 5 minutes so that it is fully softened. Now, after it is softened, a gauze piece is placed at the bottom of the water bath to prevent the adherence of impression compound with the rubber ball. It is softened by heat, inserted in an impression tray and placed against tissue before it cools to a rigid mass. The properties include the glass transition temperature is around 39 degrees Celsius. Now, what is glass transition temperature? It is a temperature at which material loses its hardness, that is brittleness. At this stage, it is not plastic or soft enough for making impression. So it forms a rigid mass upon cooling. Now the fusion temperature, now coming on to fusion temperature, it indicates definite reduction in plasticity during cooling. So heating at approximately 43.5 degrees Celsius allows the material to soften to plastic mass that which can be manipulated. Above this temperature, softened material remains plastic while impression is being made. Coming on to thermal properties, the coefficient of thermal expansion is around 0.3%, which is acceptable. Uh, Now, continuing with the thermal properties, the cold water can be sprayed on the tray while it is in the mouth so that it is thoroughly hardened prior to the removal of impression. Coming on to softening and flow, the impression compound, as I've already talked, that impression compound, we heat it around a temperature of 43.5 degrees Celsius. Below this temperature, whenever it comes in contact with the mouth temperature, which is at 37 degrees Celsius, it will get completely hardened. So, as per ADA specification number 3, the flow of type 1 impression compound at 37 degrees Celsius is 20% or less, should be 20% or less, while at 45 degrees Celsius, it should flow more, that is 85% or more. So coming on to advantages, it is cheap and reusable. It does not produce any it does not cause any irritation to the patient. It can be remodified and re-softened again till the accurate impression is obtained. And it is compatible with dye and model materials. It can also be easily electroplated to form accurate and abrasion resistant dyes. So coming on to disadvantages, it is mucocompressive. It is difficult to record details because of high viscosity. It does not have pleasant taste, difficult to remove from CV undercuts, and it can cause distortion due to poor dimensional stability. As you can see in this image, the armamentarium needed for making a successful impression is impression trace, a BP blade, impression compound, a rubber ball, along with gauze piece, which we can insert in the rubber ball so that impression compound, whenever it is softened, it does not stick to the rubber ball. So the temperature of the water should be sufficiently hot so that it melts, it softens impression compound properly. So temperature is usually around 55 to 60 degrees Celsius of water. So after we have inserted the impression compound in the hot water, we need to knead it properly. Now kneading is done so that impression compound gets softened uniformly. So the procedure will be demonstrating in the coming video. So this is how this is all about armamentarium. So coming on to the procedure. water, as you can see in the video. Now, after we immerse it, we should remove it after it is softened. Now, for making maxillary impression, we roll it in a ball, in a shape of ball, and adapt it on the tray. After we have selected a suitable tray. Now, as you can see, it should look, before taking an impression, it should actually look like an impression. This is how we manipulate it. So, as I've already told, after we have made it look like an impression, we again put it in the hot water so that it remains softened. Now, after it is softened, we place it on the model and we press it thoroughly. After we press it, we thoroughly adapt it. As you can see, the tray should be oriented properly in the midline and we need to press it. After we press it, we can see that excess impression material comes out. We need to adapt it. After we have adapted it successfully, we need to wait so that it gets set properly under temperature. After we set it, we need to remove it. After we remove it, we always trim out the excess impression material using a BP blade. So after it is done, this is the final impression after it is done, as you can see in the image. Thank you.